Hey everybody, welcome back. I'm Chris, your NFL writer here at Occupy Fantasy, here with some NFL DFS picks and tips for week 5. Talking about the running back position here in this video. We're dropping position preview videos every single week throughout the rest of the regular season, so be sure to check those out. If you like these, please make sure you're subscribed to the channel below. You'll get notified when we have a new video for you to check out. If you like the video here, we would appreciate it if you give us a thumbs up on the video. If you have any questions about running backs in week 5, please leave a comment below. That's the easiest place for us to respond to you. You can also consider joining our members-only Discord, where Occupy staff and other members are discussing, all the NFL action that's going on, as well as every other sport that's going on throughout the DFS world. Have NBA preseason, NHL preseason heating up, regular season around the corner. So definitely a good time to be thinking about what's happening every single day for sure. Happy to take care of that for you in there. Injuries, it's football, they happen, right? And I think that they are the first thing to consider with the running back position here in week 5. First player that we're really interested in monitoring right now is Bengals running back Samaje Perine, or Pirine. We'll go with Samaje for the rest of this video, huh? Samaje here is just the minimum price, $4,000 on DraftKings here. Little more appropriately priced for his true RB2 role on FanDuel at 5,600, but here on DraftKings he may just be a lock button running back here at this price if he's actually the starter. You can look at our team injury reports throughout the week. This is Wednesday evening right now, and I'm on the Bengals website now. We have the Bengals injury report. Joe Mixon with an ankle sprain late in that game last week against the Jaguars on Thursday Night Football. Didn't practice here to begin the week for Week 5's game prep. Doesn't look like he will play. We're not entirely sure yet, so we have to monitor this through Friday. But if he's out, then that means Samaje Perine at $4,000 is a phenomenal play, specifically here on DraftKings. Green Bay, just a 27th run defense right now, really poor run defense. Bengals with a pretty reliable pass blocking offensive line thus far, so definitely a good situation for Samaje, even though the Bengals are underdogs in this spot. More importantly, the volume that is available is huge. Joe Mixon with roughly 80% of the team rushes, 8% of the targets in the passing game through 4 weeks of play. Can't say for certain Samaje gets all of that. They do have, Chris Evans, who they have used sporadically in the passing game thus far. Maybe he splits the work a little bit more than any of these guys have been splitting it with Mixon. That's certainly a concern, but there's no doubt Samaje is probably the next man up for traditional between the tackles carries for the Bengals, should he draw the start here. There is another running back that we already know is in line to start because his teammate that's ahead of him at the position has already been ruled out, and it's Bears running back Damien Williams. David Montgomery, it's already been reported that he's going to miss about 4 to 5 weeks with this knee injury. He's a DNP here to begin the week, but he's out. He's not going to play. He's not going to play until at least mid-November. So as long as Damien Williams is able to go, you can see he is on here, the injury report, with a quad injury of his own. He should be fine to use in DFS contests here in week 5. Now, the fact that this FP here, full participation in practice in Wednesday was reported to us tells us there's a pretty good chance that we're going to have this situation. He is a little more reasonably priced. So he's not necessarily like an automatic, not Montgomery. I'll get this right eventually. Damien's 5,600 here on DraftKings, 5,800 over on FanDuel. So a little bit more of a decision, I think, between Damien and Samaje over on the FanDuel side of things. Damien, a great play on FanDuel, a good to great play here on DraftKings. The one thing about the two that we do know for sure is that Damien does have, a passing game role, already receiving targets, in a part-time role with David Montgomery out there. That should increase a little bit. We've all seen what Damien can do previously with Miami and with Kansas City. Obviously, Super Bowl performance a couple years ago was very notable. So Damien is a great play here in week 5 as well due to the injury situation. Really leveraging the increase in volume and opportunities to touch the football at price discounts is something that you see sharp DFS players do. I know Brian Jester has talked about it in the $1 Million Mission series he does here on the channel every Tuesday night. When we have these slates where injuries at running back create opportunities for value backs to carve out a large role for themselves, most of the sharp 150 max contest players, high stakes contest players, take advantage of those spots accordingly. You can look through the playlist of $1 Million Mission videos and find a few slates where talk about that and go in depth and look at the allocations, not just for Brian, but other players, certainly worth keeping in mind. Anyway, back to week 5 here. Other than those two guys who are important to consider, the usual suspects are in play. Obviously, Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry has over 1,100 all-purpose yards, 12 touchdowns in just 10 games against the Jaguars in his NFL career. Now the Jaguars are coming off of all this chaos with Urban Meyer. It feels like a good spot for Derrick Henry to just kind of do whatever he wants against this Jaguars team that can't wait for the coach to get replaced. So keep that in mind. We project about 32 weighted opportunities for Derrick Henry to touch the football here in week 5. It's inside the top 5 in our model, one of the highest expectations for touches. And, everybody knows he certainly has the ability to stop time and score 20 fantasy points in the fourth quarter alone, apparently. So Derrick Henry, a great play again here in week 5 as a favorite against the Jaguars especially. I don't know if our model is really caught up to how Sean Payton is using Alvin Kamara because we still project him for the most weighted opportunities to touch football on the slate. And that obviously is because we still expect a high target share from Alvin Kamara. Hard to have a lower target share than 0, which is what he had last week against the Giants. So I really hope that our model is correct and in assessing that as just a fluky outcome for Alvin Kamara against the Giants in that game last week. Kamara is playing a Washington football team here that is actually 31st in the NFL, according to Football Outsiders, their advanced ranking system, the DVOA system, defending running back passing routes. So feels like Sean Payton would be wise to use Alvin Kamara's best skill set here against the football team in week 5. Kamara, the same price on both sites this week, actually $8,600. May go overlooked a little bit because people are getting frustrated with the lack of production here at a high price tag. Still playing a lot of snaps, getting the touches in the ground. So we'll see if the targets come around for Kamara here in week 5. A lot of concern with how much Ezekiel Elliott has been splitting opportunities with Tony Pollard. Now we have a Q tag here again in week 5, but the rushing volume has been pretty secure, 16 plus carries the last 3 weeks. Target volume isn't necessarily there, so that's, I suppose, a little concerning. But when you consider that Dallas has the highest team total against the Giants at home this week, they're favored, obviously, with the highest team total. Dallas with the best run blocking line right now. Giants with a not particularly great rush defense thus far through 4 weeks of play. Things are setting up nicely for Ezekiel Elliott to be a fairly high-owned play at the running back position at a pretty affordable price, just $7,000 here on DraftKings, $8,000 on FanDuel come Sunday over on that side of things. I'm going to continue. A lot of people are going to continue to recommend rookie Najee Harris, especially he's going to continue to play nearly every down and get all of the running back opportunities to touch the ball for the Steelers. The price hasn't moved, but the matchup's pretty tough here. Odds makers don't expect much out of this game. This game has a pretty anemic 39-point total on both sides here. A lot of that probably due to the concerns with Ben Roethlisberger, who looks like he's about as poor as he's ever been at the position, unfortunately. His career seems to be coming to an end if he doesn't turn things around here. And then we have the Denver Broncos, who have an injury situation. Teddy Bridgewater with a concussion, so may not be able to play on Sunday. They'll have to go back to last year's starting quarterback, Drew Lock, if that's the case. Not a lot of potential for good fantasy outcomes here on the table, according to the best prognosticators in the world in this spot. The one thing that we do know for sure is Najee's going to get his touches. We project him for 28, 29 weighted opportunities. If he continues to see this 15 plus carries, 6, 7 targets per game roll, obviously 19 from 2 weeks ago looking like a fluke now, still going to be a fine play week in and week out. I think final running back I want to talk about is actually Leonard Fournette with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Huge favorites against the Miami Dolphins here in week 5, and Fournette pretty clearly the top running back here. Now, we saw the passing game roll improve a little bit. I mean, obviously 5 targets isn't the high that he's had on the year, but he played significantly more snaps without Giovanni Bernard available to them. I mean, Ronald Jones was not involved really in the passing game at all for Tom Brady and the Buccaneers against the Patriots. Gio did return to practice here on Wednesday. He got, I believe, a limited practice in, so that looks like he's on track to be available against the Dolphins, so that's certainly something worth monitoring. but at a really reasonable price, 5,200 here on DraftKings, 64 on FanDuel on Sunday. Leonard Fournette, the obvious running back one, still hasn't scored a touchdown yet this week. That's something that should probably correct itself sooner rather than later for the Buccaneers, with him as their primary running back in a spot where they're favored against a team that is starting to stack up some injuries themselves. That is going to do it for how we are looking at running backs this week here at Occupy Fantasy. Make sure you keep your eye out for the daily plug at occupyfantasy.com, where we will post not just our favorite running backs, but obviously the other positions you need to look at: quarterbacks, wide receivers, tight ends. We will have other important things in there for you to look at, such as contest recommendations for you to play based off of your bankroll tier, and most importantly, how to tailor the plays that we think are best this week to the type of contests that you're looking to play in. Whether that's low risk contests or high risk contests, we've done the hard work of analyzing how you should be attacking those, and we tell you how to do that using the players we like the best this week in the plug every single week, so you certainly don't want to miss that. If there's a running back I didn't talk about in this video, leave a comment below. We'll be happy to address you there. You can also consider joining our Discord, where we have Occupy staff and members discussing every single slate every single day. So it's certainly a good place to be if you like talking about DFS stuff fairly frequently. That's going to do it for this video, folks. Appreciate you watching. I'm Chris, Occupy Fantasy, here on YouTube. We'll talk to you soon.